Open Hearts and Minds, Part 6, and we know these questions are essentially rhetorical. It just gives us an opportunity to put these out there. These are questions that we have already asked, not gotten answers to, but hopefully this gives you, the members, some clarity and some ability to push back and ask questions if the opportunity arises. So one of the things that we have come to the conclusion about is that this position the DAR has taken to allow men that self-identify as women to be members as being a ideologically driven position. Now, the Texas State Regent at workshops and various other arenas has said that no, the DAR is not woke. This is not a political, ideologically driven agenda. This is basically a defensive position we've had to take in order to keep our nonprofit tax status. Okay. For the better part of a year, I was trying to operate under that mindset, trying to do my research, trying to understand why we had to do this. I knew intuitively that we had the ability to exclude certain people from our membership just because the mere fact that we've always excluded men, but I took basically a whole year to research and try to educate myself and learn all the nuances with all the different civil rights laws and acts and all of that. So in late 2024, I came across this one-page document that you've all seen, the FAQ, Answers to Members Frequently Asked Questions Regarding Transgenders in the DAR. And when I first saw it, it read as if this was something that did come from the DAR, but I was not going to go public with it until I knew for sure. I couldn't tie it to anything because there was no signature, no timestamp, no logo, nothing on it. So I immediately reached out to the proper channels, the chain of command, and I asked my then district director, where did it come from? Or did it come from the DAR is what I asked her. And her response was asking me where I got it, to which I said, I think it came from the DAR. And then she pinned me down and said, no, where did you get this document? And this was in a Facebook exchange, so I'm adding the inflection here, but essentially it was, no, where did you get it? To which I responded and said, you know, given all of the contention that's going on and all of I just didn't want to reveal where I got it. Point being, she never responded to me. Okay, well then, when the new Texas State Regent took office, I asked her, where did it come from? And instead of just telling me the truth, that it did come from the DAR, she told me that if I wanted to know where it came from, I needed to ask the President General herself. So my question is, why not just tell me that it did come from the DAR? If it's not anything to be ashamed of, why not just answer my question truthfully at that point? So it wasn't until, I think, October of last year that I actually saw with my own eyes that it was something that came from the President General. So once I knew that, all of the dots connected, because the fact that we were not getting any answers as to why we had to do this, just simple questions that could easily be answered if there were answers, which is, who is the legal counsel, what was their advice, and did you get a second opinion? Nobody could answer any of those questions. So the fact that we couldn't get answers to those simple questions, and then the fact that we can see this document that says a trans woman is not a man, a trans woman lives and identifies as a woman, that is an ideological statement. That is not rooted in truth. That is not rooted in science. And then also that document admits that they know that the DAR is not beholden to certain aspects of the Civil Rights Act, Title II and Title VII. They know that. The document explicitly says that. So the only conclusion that we can draw is that there are a relatively few women in top leadership positions who have decided that they want to allow these men into the DAR, that they've decided that they believe these men are women or whatever, I don't know. The fact is that they have made the decision, and then they have tried to convince the rest of us that it's something we have to do. Instead of giving us an opportunity to vote on it, they tell us we have to do it. And then when we come back and say, tell us why we have to, we're open. We have open hearts and open minds. We want to know why we have to. When we don't get answers on that, and moreover, not only do we not get answers, we get met with disdain. And it just further proves the point that this is not something they can defend. And so the only conclusion we can draw is that this is an ideological position. So not sure where the question is in that. Again, we can go back to saying this series is somewhat rhetorical, but that is a question. If this is not an ideological position, we'll phrase it this way. If it's not an ideological position, why did the President General put out an FAQ that said that trans women are not men, something that is not rooted in truth or science? And can we not get answers as to why we had to do this? Why will nobody tell us who the legal counsel was or what their opinion was? We are truly open to understanding that. So there's that. Now let's wrap this series up with part 7. It's going to be titled, essentially, we need to be compassionate.